Alright, so the gameplay I'm going to use for this video is my first Plunder win. If you guys want me to use the same gameplay and edit it into a compilation of my first win with my friends, so you guys can see all the highlights from it and how we got to where we were, let me know and I will try to do that. It's not too bad to edit, it's only like 30 minutes. So let me know what you guys think, if you guys would watch that or not. Also, I did a video about weapons in Warzone and the ones that I think you shouldn't use. So that video is up on my channel if you want to go watch that. Also, I have a merch store in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video. If not, dislike it, unsubscribe. What else are you gonna do? Complain? In my comment section? Unbelievable. Alright, so I'm not good enough at Battle Royale to give you guys tips for Battle Royale, but I have been playing a good amount of Plunder, and I can give you some tips for that. A lot of these tips are just common sense, so go easy on me. I have to stick to my strengths here. I don't want to come off as disingenuous. I'm not an amazing player, but I did figure out some things that might help you when it comes to enjoying the game mode Plunder. So, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing you should know is that you should never commit to a mistake when playing Plunder. If you find that you and your squad are dying consistently in the same area against the same couple of squads, go somewhere else. The map is huge and you really should be playing the entire map. 30 minutes might sound like a long time, but it isn't. If you commit to a mistake in Plunder, you'll oftentimes waste half the match dying over and over again to people that are clearly more prepared than you are, and you'll just keep losing money constantly. Stop picking fights with people you can't fight, stop separating from your team, go do something else. Pick an area on the map to regroup at, head there, and commence regrouping. The next thing you want to do is bring up your map and go towards an objective, whether it's a secure area, a scavenger hunt, or a bounty if you're feeling reckless. Those are the things you need to go towards. So regroup in an area that's safe, and then mark an area on the map and go there and go complete an objective. If you're trying to win at Plunder, you really don't need to be running headlong into the same people in the same area over and over and over again. It's a really bad idea. This next tip is if you're playing with 2 other friends that you can communicate with, or at least 2 other people that you can communicate with. You need to do 2 things. Stick together and coordinate your loadouts. 3 people with really good M4 builds is pretty scary, but what if one of you had a sniper on your loadout, or a Strela, or a Pila? What if one of you had a riot shield or a shotgun? Try to coordinate so that you guys cover more ground. If you have one friend that can use a shotgun and a riot shield, he can be your point man. He can be the one that enters buildings and searches them. Give him a heartbeat sensor or a snapshot grenade so that he can help you guys clear buildings. Have somebody cover long range weaponry and have somebody cover heavy weaponry. So like somebody has an assault rifle sniper, somebody has a machine gun and rocket launcher, and somebody has a shotgun and riot shield. Maybe you guys don't need to each be incredibly versatile because you should be working together. The next thing is don't split up. If your teammates are respawning and you're by yourself, wait somewhere and then regroup. It's way more worth it to hold your ground and wait for your team than die and continue to get separated. Overwatch players should know this because there's a really bad habit that people get into in Overwatch where they respawn and push the objective without their team behind them. It's way more beneficial to wait for your team to come push with you and then work together. You might feel like you're wasting time while you're waiting, but you're going to waste more time if you get yourself into situations you can't handle. Question is are they... Oh, door just open.
Coming in.
I'm getting up on top of a roof to provide Overwatch. Oh, I see him there.
I'm flashed. Oh, my armor's gone.
Oh, they're downstairs.
Yep,
Yeah,
mine as well.
Where to?
No, you don't. I downed one.
Good shit.
Team wiped. Team wiped.
There we go. Good shit, guys. Okay, who's got the package?
Make sure your buddies are benefiting you. Try to stick near your teammates at all times, and try to coordinate loadouts if you can communicate with the people you're playing with. It'd be really bad if your entire team had snipers, or your entire team just had medium range ARs and then got pinned at long range, or got attacked in close range. You need to be able to be versatile, and you're only going to be versatile, or at your most versatile, when working with your entire squad. Leads me to my next one, which is don't engage everyone. Just because you see an enemy does not mean you need to open fire on an enemy. Myself included, my friends included, will sometimes just see a lone person and we'll be like, oh sweet, a kill, I love XP, and we go to shoot them, and then their squad comes around and they're like, hey, you pick it on our buddy, and then it becomes a firefight that you have an equal chance of losing. Sometimes it's best to not pull the trigger on an opponent. Wait until your team's there, wait until you get an idea of the surroundings. For instance, if you see one dude outside of a building, you might think, well, that's an easy target, but what you really should think is, his squad's probably in that building. And while being a thorn in their side and inconveniencing them is fun, you also don't know what squads are around you. Somebody might be in earshot of your gunfire, and they're going to move to see if they can take advantage of you because you're taking advantage of someone else. Your attention will be split. The easiest gunfights I have won in Plunder are the gunfights against people that are dealing with a different squad altogether. My next tip goes hand in hand with this, and that is suppress your gun. It is very much so worth it to put a monolithic or tactical suppressor on your weapon or an integrally suppressed barrel. Just make sure it's not hurting your bullet velocity or damage range. For instance, the lightweight suppressor takes a quarter of your range away, which is obviously something you don't want. It's serviceable, but an absolutely idiotic idea, especially for Plunder or Battle Royale or any large-scale game mode. And of course, lower bullet velocity is going to make hitting moving targets a lot harder. Also, I believe there was an issue where barrels that reduce your bullet velocity also reduce your range by 10%, which I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's really true, but I definitely read about that on Twitter. I believe Drifter was talking about it. I don't know if that was a bug and it's fixed now. But either way, you don't want slow bullets, and you don't want less range. In fact, in my opinion, in Plunder or Battle Royale, it is worth it to slow your gun down to get faster bullet velocity and better damage ranges than it is to speed up your gun for quick and snappy gunfights. Unless you're strictly staying inside, I feel like it's way better to have a better long-range weapon. You should be prepared for your gunfights. You should be prepared and aiming down sight already. If you're worried about fast, quick-draw engagements, run overkill with an SMG secondary. But I always recommend putting a suppressor on your rifle, monolithic or tactical, preferably monolithic for extra damage range. But of course it is up to your playstyle and how you play the game, so I'm not going to tell you specifically what you should and shouldn't run. Alright, so maybe these tips make me sound like a coward, but I also think you should really worry about your sound profile. Be careful when opening doors and closing them, be careful when you're using a vehicle, be careful when you're running around, be careful whether or not your gun is suppressed, because you don't want to get ambushed because somebody heard your dumbass running, driving, or slamming doors around. I have gotten kills in Plunder because somebody decided to sprint through a door instead of peeking it or slowly opening it. I hear the door swing open, I look towards the door, the bad guy is there, I get the kill. Plunder isn't 6v6, you don't really have to worry about being an optimal gunfight winner all the time, and so sometimes it's good to crouch around the inside of a building or slowly peek a door. You don't need to be sprinting and jump shotting and making sure your sight is at head level all the time. Sometimes it's good to just be quiet. In my opinion, it's better to miss out on kills because you're being sneaky than to get a kill and risk getting killed by somebody else that heard you, and then losing money, and then having to regroup with your team having a man down, maybe also losing gunfights because of that, and then they're spawning out of sync with you, and then you're waiting for them, and they're waiting for you, and hopefully they don't get shot while coming in on their parachute, hopefully your entire team didn't wipe and lose all of that money that they just dropped. Plunder can domino effect into chaos very, very quickly. Something I'm finding kind of funny here is that in this gameplay, we win this match, but I'm not following any of my own advice in this gameplay. So it's kind of funny. I'm showing my first win, but when we got that first win, I don't think my team or I was following any of this advice. So it might have just been a fluke. I might not turn it into a video. But I think it's funny that this gameplay is me not using a suppressor, me using a sniper scope on an assault rifle, and losing gunfights because of it, and being loud, and getting caught because of that, and taking shots before calling out to my team. You live and you learn, I guess. Whatever. My next tip goes hand in hand with that, and that is that you should really not be allergic to cover. Don't push out in the open. You do not need to be closer to your opponents. That's why we have firearms, and I see a lot of people thinking that they need to push or flank in every situation instead of holding their position, holding their power position. If you are away from your other squad mates, if you are in the open and getting killed, that is entirely your fault. Don't be allergic to cover, and don't be allergic to your squad. My next tip is also very simple, and that is that hybrid sights are your best friend. Don't forget about them. Especially on assault rifles and LMGs, I really recommend that you throw on a hybrid sight. I'm pretty sure all of the hybrid sights in the game are around a 3.25 or 3.5 scope that can be switched into a 1x red dot sight. And because of the variety of engagements you will find yourself getting into, I think it speaks for itself why hybrid sights are a good choice in this game mode. Using a hybrid sight on a kilo, switching to high zoom and semi-auto, mounting the gun and using it like a DMR, or swapping to the 1x sight, putting it on full auto, and just basically using it like an RDS assault rifle is a great advantage over people that just are using assault rifles with red dot sights. And I've gotten killed by people that only carry around an M4 with an RDS, and while that might work really well in 6v6 or maybe even ground war or 10v10, in here I feel like occasionally or often you're going to be put in engagements where that red dot sight's not going to cut it. So toggle your weapon to semi-auto, switch to high zoom, and pop people at a distance, and then of course full auto, red dot sight. Also you can full auto with the high zoom optic. I'm just trying to let you know that you can have a lot of versatility in one rifle by using a hybrid sight. I have a video that I'm going to do about building loadouts for Warzone. It won't be like Drifter or Exclusive Aces videos where they go into like DPS and stats. I'm just going to go through my mentality when building a loadout for a game mode like Plunder. How do I balance my attachments, what the class needs to achieve, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. My last big tip for Plunder is something I've praised it for now in 2 other videos, but I'm going to do it again here. Play it however you want. Plunder is not always about winning. These tips were about being optimal and not getting taken out and losing cash, and how to set up your shit, but Plunder is about doing whatever you want, and that's why I love the game mode. If you wanted to set up a loadout where you have a combat knife, and a crossbow, and stealth perks, and you just want to be a creepy little stealthy boy, creeping around the insides of buildings, maybe almost seeing no action, but when somebody enters the building, you stab them in the back or assassinate them, you're just sort of a thorn in a certain squad's side. You stalk the inside of buildings, you creep around, staying away from your own squad and just being a creepy asshole, you can do that. Your squad can have all RPGs, and you can camp and hide next to a money deposit area, and then when they go to deposit their cash, just 3 RPGs collide on the target. Wait by the road with C4 and landmines and stop cars that drive by. Hide out in the woods with a sniper rifle and just pick people off. Or go far away from all of the action and just complete objectives, driving around doing scavenger hunts in secure areas, only defending yourself if you have to. Or hot drop into scary areas full of top earners and just get into gunfight after gunfight and just slug it out. My number 1 tip for Plunder is throw caution to the wind. This is the most sandbox game mode we've ever seen. It's the most sandbox game mode I've played in a AAA shooter. So let loose, have fun with it, come up with your own strategies, and share your tips down in the comment section below. I did not push this video to over 10 minutes. I really just had this much stuff to say, so now I'm sort of rambling. I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye. We're heroes.
Boom.
Good
First place.
Nice.
Nice. Wow. That was fun.
That
That was a good match.
That was a really good match.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Worth every penny.
That is so much XP. Jesus Christ.
If I get 0 XP from this, from that glitch, I will throw something.